Forgot to do that. We didn't have the introductions anyway. So what we're going to talk about tonight is where's my share screen? All right, can everybody see the PowerPoint presentation now, the club officer training? Does it look good? Yes, no?
No, can't see it.
Oh, one more button. How about now?
We can see it now.
All right, well, moving on. So tonight we're going to do 4 sessions as you've got in your emails. The 3 primary officers, presidents, secretary, and treasurer. But tonight is just a general training. We're going to talk about a variety of things related to your officer roles, clubs, some things that are going on in international as far as some ways to grow your club and potential things like that. So let me get my PowerPoint act together. So anyway, congratulations. And many of you are repeat officers. Some of you may be first-time officers, but it is a privilege and honor that your club has asked you to fill this role, I hope. You know, your members of your club have some expectations and hopefully putting your skills to use as a club officer. So it's like I said, tonight you guys are taking advantage of the opportunities to learn and grow. So that's a good thing. Here we go. So as they always teach this in all these training classes, to have some goals for the training. Tonight we're going to talk about a little brief Lions history. It's always good to know. Some people don't know some of this stuff. How Lions is structured. How your club, the standard recommended standard is not required. Structure. We're going to talk briefly about the responsibilities and duties of each officer. There is what's called the standard club constitution of bylaws. We'll talk about that a little more detail. Meaningful projects. Again, this is more, we'll get into some group discussion a little bit. What's a good meeting? And then finally, and these will be much more details in the individual sessions of the LCI, they call it the LCI suite, my LCI, my Lion, Lions Learning Center, the store is in there now. We'll go do a brief introduction, excuse me, of those. But like I said, those will be handled much more detail for the individual officers on you know, and especially if secretaries, and some of you haven't been secretary that long, it can be really difficult and confusing. So there'll be a big focus on that on the secretary training next Monday. So Lions Club history, as promised. 1917, Melvin Jones founded Lions Club International in Chicago. He was an insurance man that was involved in a lot of business type groups that were all about growing their businesses and making money and things like that. And he said, you know, I want to do something different. I want to be able to help people and do something different. And he founded Lions Club, Lions Clubs International. We became international in 1920 when a club from Windsor, Canada first joined the Lions Clubs. First club in Montana was the Billings Lions. 1921. In 1925, Helen Keller spoke at a Lions convention, and at that point, she challenged Lions to become Knights of the Blind. There is actually it's not a video, it's was on film of this. It is on YouTube. It's really pretty amazing if you ever want to watch it on her speech at the Lions Club convention. 1968, they formed LCIF, the Lions Club International Foundation. And in 1987, Montana Lions founded the Montana Lion Sight and Hearing Foundation. Any questions up to this point? All righty. Currently, and this has changed since I did this slide, there's a couple things that I forgot to correct one other thing. There are 48,000 Lions clubs and about 1.4 million members. The 1.4 is down a little bit, but they're actually, Lions have started growing again. So things are looking up on that front. And this one I forgot to change. Our current international president is Douglas Alexander from New York. This was last year when I forgot to update the slide, so. Okay, just some really brief things. Again, there's lots of clubs that have less than 20 members. To form a new club, you have to have 20 members to start. That's kind of what a new club, but one of the new ways we're starting new clubs these days are called branch clubs. They're basically a club under an existing club. So we have a club formed in the last couple of years in Shelby. And they've got about 6 or 8 members now, I think. So they are a branch club of the Coots Sweetgrass Club with District Governor Mike Tobin's club. So that's how they can be a club. They're basically operate under their own, even though they are under the umbrella of another club. But if you know of any towns that somebody says, hey, we really ought to have a Lions club here, get a hold of one of us. And because that we can start it with, 5 people. We're broken into zones. The structure of Lions Club International is really flat. There's not a lot of layers. So there's clubs, there's zones, which typically 3 to 8 clubs are in a zone. In Montana, because of the size, we have regions, not all districts have regions. We have 3 regions, west, central, and east. 4 regions, west, central, east, or west, north, south, and east. There we get it. Anyway, and a district. So we're right now, Montana's an individual district. It's called a single district. And they have to have at least 35 clubs and 1,250 active members. We actually have lost a couple clubs over COVID. We're down to a 65, I believe, but we're still close to we're 1,550 or something. So we're doing okay. In lots of places, they have multiple districts. You'll hear this, the things called the MD. We used to be part of an MD 37. But we redistricted, so we're just a single district. But a lot of places where California, of course, has many districts and many clubs. So there are actual several multiple districts in places like that. Then we have what's called constitutional areas. That has to do with the International Board of Directors. We are Constitutional Area 1 in the United States. Canada is Constitutional Area 2. And so on and so forth. So that's the structure, really flat. Here's a visual picture of it. Whoops. Here's a visual picture, club, zone, region, district, multiple district, constitutional area. Really flat structure. We don't need a lot of management because we're going to talk quite a bit about this later on what your club. There's a program called Your Club, Your Way. So anyway, standard club structure. Again, this is a recommendation. It is not mandatory. Small clubs sometimes don't have a board of directors. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but typically you have a board of directors, that you have your club officers, president. They have now what they call global action teams, GATs. And I'll go into some more detail about that, but you don't have to have a separate committee of that. Normally you have, your secretary and treasurer. Some small clubs have a secretary treasurer. That's okay. You'll notice they've got a spot for the immediate past president. They also put a level of marketing in there, which I think is a great idea. And a service chairperson. Again, if you're a small club, if you filled all these roles, you wouldn't have any people that are just members. So if whatever fits your club works best. If you're a bigger club, the committee structure really helps a lot. Having a finance committee, marketing and communication, things like that, a membership committee is really good if you're a bigger club. And even if you're not a big club, you can do a committee of a couple, 3 people that's focused on a certain area. Really will help in your leadership of your club. Okay. All right, in the fine print. So here are some of the officers that you can have in your club. Of course, you're going to have a president. He's the boss, chief executive officer, presides at the meetings when available, of board of directors and clubs. You'll have a vice president, probably a couple depending on your club. You can have, I think there's up to 3 spots. That person could be the leadership chairperson. Typically, they'll take over if the president's not available to run the meetings and things like that. Hopefully, you have some vice presidents or a vice president, and somebody's not president for life. Try to keep the club moving on and get some fresh ideas. It's a great idea to do that kind of thing. Obviously, the secretary does a lot of stuff, minutes, agendas, is the person that updates the website with all the new members and unfortunately drop members and activities. What's your club doing? There's a place to do that, and they'll spend a fair amount of time next Monday on going over how you do those and how you enter them. The money guy, pays the bills, dues, financial reports. They've talked quite a bit about the immediate past president because they did it last year or 2 years ago, and kind of got some, hopefully can help out the newer presidents that are coming in and help guide a little bit. Membership chair, I think it's really important to have one. Even if you're a small club, to have an appointed person that's really in charge of membership and trying to grow members in your club. I mean, everybody involved needs to be doing that. Everybody in the club is part of that membership team, but if you have a person to guide it, I think it's really important. And certainly not lead because we're Lions because of, I'm not a Lion because I want to go to a meeting and listen to the secretary's report and all that. I'm a Lion because I want to help people. And I think that's why we're all Lions. And so service really needs to take a forefront in our clubs. And sometimes I think we forget that. Okay, so I mentioned the ugly word constitutional bylaws. I will send some follow-up emails. I sent everybody an email that was signed up for that contained a bunch of this stuff. But this Lions Club resources, it's on the international site. If you basically, I will have to send you the link, but this is a improving, how can your club be better? What are some things you can do? We'll go more into depth in your club, your way here in a minute, but it's just a way of Lions Club International saying, and they haven't for years, there's some things that are dictated. There are a few things that are mandatory, but other than that, really it isn't. You can hold your meetings all virtually. You can hold your meetings half and half virtually. You can meet once a week. You can meet twice a month. You can meet once a month. You can, what works for your club and your club members is the way you should operate your club, for the most part. There's a few things that the Lions Club, and I'll discuss some of those a little bit, but so this is a link to that Your Club Your Way guide. There's some this is the planning guide. It's called Build a Vision for Your Club. It's a process that you can go through to, if you're feeling, especially if your club is feeling stagnant, and you know, this is the base. They've been really successful with increasing memberships using this method, this global membership approach. We could spend all night on just this, but basically they've got a plan where you get a group of people, you go through this process of building a vision. What's our club? What do we want to look like in a year, 2 years, 5 years? You do what's called the SWOT analysis, where you talk about what's the strengths of our club, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities for our club, what are threats against our club, and you go again, go through this process. And it's been really effective because it gets people in the club excited, and it gets you making a plan. Okay, our membership is struggling. What are we going to do about it? Well, we'll talk about it next week. This really is a great way to take a really active step of, it does take some work, but that's, it's a great deal. That another area they've got this club quality initiative, which is another different view of strengthening your club. It's basically another step-by-step workbook. It's a little different. The other one was focused on increasing membership. This is focused more broadly on revitalize your club with new service, share your club's achievements with the community, getting out there. But again, it's another, these resources are really amazing here on the website. And there is a Club Excellence Award. You can apply, have your club apply. So normally the applications are due by, I believe, August of the following year. So for this year, you would apply after the end of the year. They go to the district governor. There's a form in there about what you need to do. You have to have a net growth of membership. Yeah, the end of August, they got to be, but they need to go to the district governor before that, because he's got to submit them by the end of August. Anyway, net membership. You got to have significant service projects. You got to have people that are, like tonight, you're attending this, that accounts to, you write down, yes, our leaders attended this session, and there's a lot of other resources. Anyway, so that's that page. That's a really great, and I'll send out that link. It is a fabulous thing to take a look at. And now we're down to the constitutional bylaws. That's where we went. We did the standard club structure. So what International does is it has a standard constitutional bylaws. These are basically the rules of how you should run your club, or how your club should be set up and run. You can add things to this. You basically, is not recommended that you take stuff out. It's not that long. There are just things about, if you have a board of directors, how it should be organized. The big things that one of the big things they demand, we'll talk about in the treasurer section, but is funds. You're supposed to have 2 accounts with funds. One that is public money that is received from the public, raffles, fundraisers, whatever, that's your public money. It has to be returned to the public. And then you have your club money, things like dues. There are some ways to increase that by, some clubs work at things where they're not really, you're just doing something not to be a represent the Lions, but your club gets paid. Those can be put in your administrative money. But you cannot use public money for things related to, you can't use public money for having your Christmas dinner, things like that. Makes absolute sense. So this is the kind of standard constitutional bylaws. You can download it from the website. You know, it has basically all the balloting and everything else. Any questions on that one? Everybody still with me?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Projects. Even though it's a short slide, this to me is one of the keys to our Lions Club being successful. What do you do in your community? And I'm going to ask some people, ask you guys to talk a little bit about some of the stuff your clubs are doing. And you know, again, my club, unfortunately, we do a fair amount in the community. We do plus optic screenings. We do flags for first graders, where we give the first graders a flag. We give away a bunch of money, but as this says, giving away money is a fabulous thing, but it's not really a project. It can get your club excited about giving money to stuff, but really, you really want to focus on making sure you've got some hands-on things for the members to do, to get out there, feel like they're making a difference in their community, making a change in their community. If you're stagnant and you think you might need something, there is this community needs assessment. Like I said, they got a bunch of stuff, but it's a way to say, well, are we doing the best we can do for our community? Are our projects relevant? Are they timely? Are they making a difference? This basically involves, you know, somebody will need to run it, but it's, you know, you do an assessment of your club. And it's basically that, some of that assessment we looked at before. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our challenges? And there is a whole workbook that goes with this and everything else, but there's an activity in the workbook that you would fill some of this out. But it gets a chance for not just your club members to get some input on your club and what we're doing and how we're doing it, and should we make some changes. But then you go out to the community and you ask people like the you know, the mayor, the city council, stuff like that. What do you think our Lions Club ought to be doing in the community? What do you think, you know? So it's a really good process. Again, they all take some work. They all take somebody that's going to be dedicated to actually doing them. But they are great things. So why don't does anybody want to tell us about some of the good things your clubs are doing? Nobody's doing any good things.
Sure. This is Angelina from Columbia Falls, and let me put my video back on so I'm not just a black screen. Oh, there I am. Let's see. So some of the stuff that we've been doing, we have a school supply drive that we do every year for children. I think we had $3,600 worth of donations of school supplies that we handed out to children in the community, and a couple of bikes that we had gotten as well. We do our summer concert series So this year, I think we had 8 concerts, and all the donations this year went to different nonprofits in the area. So children's assistance programs for the school, land programs that there are, things like that. We took on our Night of Lights parade for Columbia Falls, and that was new this year. So we put that all on. We also put up the Christmas lights every year, and that was a project where we had to actually get funding to rewire the lights, and it's a big, huge project. Anyways, we are working towards hopefully a dog park soon as well. And then we help with the vision screening. We do the flags for the kids as well, different things like that. And eyeglass, collecting eyeglasses, that kind of a thing. Like everybody I think kind of does too. So quite a few different activities for our members.
I'm going to jump in here for a sec because I want to talk about the Columbia Falls Lions Club just a little bit. So they are an amazing example of a club that has turned itself around.
Thank you.
Probably less than 5 years ago,
Mhm.
they were down to a bunch of old guys. And
I think they were almost done to close. Yeah, I think they were down to like
They were
12
talking-
members maybe. Yeah.
and they what they did, they got together and they said, we can't put up, we've been doing these Christmas lights for years. We've been doing all this stuff for years. We don't have enough people, and they're all too old to do this stuff. And they made up their mind they were going to do something about it. So they made a plan, basically to go, some of the things they did, they had used social media. Yes, I know that's scary for us old gray people. And they went and attacked all the local businesses and got in. And sometimes it's finding a few of the right people. They managed to find a few of those younger right people. It got them into the club, got them involved, and it exploded. So it's an amazing story, and it's a story that says you guys could do it too. You can do. I know there's obstacles. I know it's difficult. Lots of clubs are struggling, but the biggest thing they did, in my mind, was they said, when we get these new people in, we're going to do what they want to do. We're not going to say, oh, we did that in 1962 and it didn't work. We're not going to say, oh, well, I don't think that'll work. We're going to do what they want to do. And like I said, it's a great example of a big turnaround. So it's amazing. Anyway.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Well-
this is Don from Hamilton. I'll tell you what we've been doing. Yeah, we just donated $4,000 to the Daily Hospital, to their new cancer infusion center that they want to build. This last year, we built and donated a couple benches in memory of some local residents who contributed a lot to the community. And those benches are along hiking pathways along the city. We're working with the city of Hamilton right now, trying to come up with a parks program so that we're ascertaining the city needs for how to improve the city parks. So we're looking at what we can do there. We do highway cleanup. We just finished that a couple weeks ago. So those are some of the big ones. And we've done some vision things. We're buying a Braille typewriter for a local person who has no money, and of course, we've done the eyeglasses and the hearing aids all along, just like everybody else.
Fabulous.
This is Mary Lee with Gallatin Empire Line Club in Bozeman. We have quite a few projects we've been doing for a long time. We have about 5 aluminum recycle bins around Bozeman. And right now we're recycling about 1,100 pounds of aluminum every month. We also provide, take care of all of the concessions for the Stampede Rodeo, which is the college rodeo in Bozeman every year. We also act as bartenders for Eagle Mount, which is disabled children on their big fundraiser. We also worked with Big Brothers and Sisters up until this year with their fundraiser by providing service to them, helping with parking and just really supporting their service. We scan all of the schools in the Gallatin Valley with the Plus Optics. We do the flags for first graders. And we have 2 Leo's clubs that we're supporting. They're doing quite a bit of good in the community as well. So we're pretty busy, but we're looking to expand. And I forgot to tell you, we meet every single Tuesday at 6:30 a.m.
Yep. Yeah, I can't do that 6:30 thing you guys do, but all right. Anybody else? Let's brag a little bit. This is good stuff.
Oh, Doug Larson from Havre. How about that?
There we go.
We've got a campground out at Beaver Creek, which is about 26 miles south of Havre. It's supposed to be the largest county park in the country. And we have a campground out there that we maintain, and we have constructed restrooms, or we've supplied concrete ones and stuff like that. We built 2 pavilions out there. We also have a Lions baseball field in Havre. And this coming spring, we're going to be doing some working that and changing the size of it so that it fits the needs of the community better. The fields it's too big for the kids that are playing on it. We'll be ringing bells for the Salvation Army on the 18th of December. We take that over for the one day. We also have in the past, I don't think we did this year because I think they called off the 4th of July celebration. We cook in the park for the celebration for the 4th of July. We have a can recycling booth in a couple places in Havre. Where our money-making thing is we cook what is called Pronto Pups at the fair. And they're kind of like a corn dog, but they're a different type of batter. And we usually sell close to 1,000 pounds of dogs and 7,000 pounds of fries at that in a 5-day period. We also, what else do we sponsor the Havre Lions swim team. They had to change their name this year, re-logo it, because some of the other teams were complaining that they were being sponsored by somebody.
Oh,
But we're still sponsored. We donated, I think, $1,500 here a couple of weeks ago for a new computer system or type of thing to help with the timing. We also donated $1,000 to Close Up at the high school here, and that was to help them buy ingredients for the tamales that they'll be cooking. And we usually have some lines that'll help with that for their fundraiser, and they'll be taking a trip to Washington D.C. or someplace back east. And we do the vision screening also. We test eyes all the way from Chester, Montana to Hinsdale, Montana. And I think I can't remember how many miles, but when I do my reports, I usually try to put in how many miles we drove for that. So some of these people back east that think that where they just drive across the block and do some work, they realize how much distance there is in Montana. Or they probably don't realize it. They don't quite understand it, I don't think. And we do the high school cleanup, or the highway cleanup, I mean, and also hearing aids and glasses. And that's quite a bit of everything we do. I'm sure there's some more things I could have said, but that's a good start.
yeah, very, very busy club. So, and one thing I wanted to mention that, COVID kind of really hit us hard in a lot of ways, still hitting us hard. And in some cases, clubs hit obstacles and had to change the way they do some stuff. A lot of clubs had to do it. And the ones that did that are still more successful because, Doug, what did the Havre Lions Club do with their Pronto Pups when they didn't hold the fair?
We had a drive-through.
Yeah.
And it worked very well. Our president, Becky Toth, came up with the idea, and we supported her. And even though we didn't know how well it worked, the people had to stay in their cars, and they drove through. The line was probably over a mile long at times of people waiting, and some people waited 4.5 hours to get the Frana Pups and cheese fries. You know, so you give you an idea how people like the Frana Pups and Havre. You know, to
That's
wait.
super awesome. That's
They-
super
they-
cool.
They
We
are
did
come
that for the
through.
Easters. Yeah, we did that for our Easter. We always do the Easter egg hunt for the kids and stuff. And we did that too last year because of COVID. We did like a drive-through. So
A lot of
Oh.
people
that's
had
cool that
to-
we had a similar idea.
Yeah, a lot of people had to adopt, and you still, to a certain extent, have to maybe do the things a little differently. So
Yeah.
one more person, then we'll move on.
Yeah, this is Henry Schnackenberg in the Fort Benton Lions Club, and we're kind of in that same mode that Columbia Falls has passed through in trying to get new members that are younger. And we've been fortunate enough to get roughly 4 or 5 people that are under 40 years old, and established a Facebook site. And for one of our service projects that we do is we raise the money every year for the Fort Benton Summer Celebration fireworks. And so they did a GoFundMe, the younger folks. And so there are definitely huge benefits in trying to transition from the things that we've done, for 50, 60 years. We've done the Halloween window painting here in Fort Benton and the Easter egg hunt every year. And we've always done, of course, the eyeglasses, hearing aids and everything. And trying to transition into new projects does take some outside the box thinking. And so now we're working on our first wheelchair ramp, all Lions sponsored and funded. We've got other new projects coming in. We did house signs for low-income people that don't have house numbers on their house, and have first responders coming in. And then we focused on diabetes, and we work with our local pharmacy here to have a public service thing where our pharmacist in Big Sandy in Fort Benton is the gatekeeper, and he spends our Lions money to help low-income people with diabetes testing and their medical supplies and co-payments. And so we got some new things coming in that doesn't mean we'll get rid of the Easter egg hunt and the window painting and the scholarships and the things that we've always traditionally done, but there are new projects, service projects. Like you say, giving money is nice. We do that a lot to help the library and Shakespeare in the Park and women's club, things like that. But it's the service projects that we get out there and get something done that we're trying to expand. And so just this last weekend, we were every year for probably the past 3 years, the cancer support group here lines the levee along the Missouri River with torch luminaries for people who have passed away from cancer. And so we're down there, that first Saturday of every December, filling bags with sand and putting candles in them and everything. And I think it's those projects that actually accomplish something in the community that are probably better. It's good to give money, but it's nice to just get out there and have a hands-on project that benefits the community.
Absolutely. Excellent. All right. Good job, guys. Let's go ahead, and if I can figure out how to do this. Move on. Ever feel like that in some of your meetings? So, that's the other side of the things that you got your traditional meeting. Our club is always heavily, we have a lot, we try to have a lot of outside speakers. That's one of the things we've traditionally done, and I really enjoy our club that we do. If we don't just do business meetings, we have outside speakers come in, and we get people from, some of the things we give money to, but we also get speakers that are really interesting about the local community, all a variety of things. That's what I enjoy in our meetings, but it may not work in yours. Again, how often do you meet? There are clubs that meet once a week. We were one of them. We're now twice a month. There are clubs that meet, typical twice a month is pretty common. There are clubs that meet once a month. That makes me a little nervous. Are you communicating in other ways if you're meeting once a month? Because lots of things can, not happen if you're only meeting once a month. You can absolutely do it without meetings at all. You can do it with email, and there are virtual clubs now that do a lot of stuff with just email, Zoom meetings, things like that. There are all kinds of ways to do it. Make people, this is obvious stuff, but sometimes we forget about it. Make people feel welcome. The old days clubs, a lot of clubs had greeters that they're assigned, and I think the Sunriser Club still does that. Their job is to make sure that everybody gets welcomed and said hi to and things like that. Reminders, emails, when things are happening. Try to involve everyone. And sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes people don't want to, but one of my favorite, there's a couple things. I've been involved in a lot of stuff. I did an eye screening this morning. I love it. It's great. The kids are fabulous. And we do flags for first graders. I've been doing one of the schools here for years, and it's a blast. And I've tried to get other people, come with me and see how this is all. It's great fun. The kids are fabulous. Try to get people involved. Sometimes it's just hard. Name tags. This is my wife's big deal. She thinks that people, even a small group, especially if you got new people, it's worth having your wearing name tags. Again, back to our last discussion, community service. That should be the focus of your club. Fundraising important, you got to have funds to do community service, but let's not forget that. Have fun, and that's an order. But find ways to do that. The old tail twister, that was the designation. That was the fun thing. In some clubs, it's evolved into just a way to collect a little extra money and not include the fun part anymore. So, and does anybody want to make any comments on fun stuff you guys could do for your clubs or meetings? Oh, where did that go?
For ours, or Tail Twister, she does a 50-50 raffle. That got a lot more participation and a lot more dollars.
Yep.
And our kitty too.
I missed one. I didn't get it right here. Bear with me for just a minute, because
You said a 50-50 what?
raffle.
Oh, raffle.
We do a 50-50
Okay.
raffle, yeah. And so we got actually, we get more participation
Our
We
club
do
does.
for that
Also-
and for money in our kitty.
We do that also, 50-50 raffle, but also we raffle off every meeting a fine-free medallion, so that somebody can come in and do whatever they want, And so but they can't be fined. So we make a little extra money on that too.
That'd be a good one.
You
The
know,
Sunrisers, we have outside speakers every meeting except the board meeting once a month. And that's really nice. This morning, the Big Brothers and Sisters have a new director, and they have like 20 bigs and 2 littles. So they're upgrading their program. They dropped out quite a bit over the coop. Anyway, that's a lot of fun. And then everybody's getting really excited. We have our stuff we do, but everybody gets really excited about the fishing derby we have for the kids.
Yep.
And that'll be the Saturday after Christmas, because Christmas, I think, is on Saturday.
Yep. Does anybody
So,
watch
yeah, and everybody gets excited about that.
Does anybody watch Backroads of Montana?
Ron Hoy does.
Apparently I'm too old, because they made Backroads of Montana with their fishing derby last year.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love this little video. It doesn't take very long, so.
you enjoying your first pancake breakfast?
Oh, it's delicious. Thanks, Lion Carissa.
Mhm.
Hey guys, listen, I know I'm a new member, but I had an idea.
Do tell.
What if we also served waffles?
Lions eat pancakes. Always have, always will.
Do you want to lose your pin?
No, pancakes are the champion of the breakfast table. They're the only food worthy of the king of the jungle. Well, it might be nice to have a little variety, right? I mean, hey, look, we have syrup, we have butter in the back, and I actually carry a waffle iron in my hatchback.
You remind me of this guy who tried to bring French toast to the group. French toast Guinness.
Yeah, we don't talk about FTD anymore.
R.I.P. FTD. Oh yeah, he didn't die, but he's dead to us.
Hashtag
Lions pride.
Look, I know that being a lion is all about following tradition, but I'm just saying, what if we made our own traditions, shook things up a little bit? Like what if we served crepes?
No.
Or a quiche? What if we had dinner for breakfast? It's very clear. Pancakes in the morning, spaghetti at night, everything in Lions Club will be all right. It's there in the bylaws. No, it isn't.
It should be.
Sorry for going against the group here, right?
Understood.
Yeah,
Don't worry
just-
about it. No big deal.
I brought a salad for myself. I hope that's okay.
Absolutely.
It's not Rabbit's Club. Eat your pancakes.
Do you want some syrup?
No, thank you.
Do you want syrup?
Yes, I would
There it
love some
is.
syrup.
That's good. That's funny.
Hopefully there wasn't anything in there that reminded you of your club. All righty. Okay, so this real briefly, as a officer, you've probably been here, done that, but like I said, we'll get a lot more details on the specifics for the officers. But this is the login screen. If you have not done this as an officer, you need to register. You click on this register link. You'll need to know your Lions member number. You'll create an account. So this is their new, fairly new. And it's glitchy. So anyway, My Lion now is where you report your activities, although if you've been a secretary, you know that. Plus, people can do other things in there. Anybody in your club can actually go in and post stuff. It's kind of got a social media like thing to it. But normally your secretary would go in and post the things you've done and what you've done, and our secretary apparently hasn't been very busy. But anyway, this is well, like I said, we'll go into these details, but that's where you report your club activities. Why is this important? For a couple of reasons. Number one, this is a metric, to get into the fancy terms, that Lions Club International uses. For example, a couple of years ago, they partnered with the Bill Gates Foundation on a measles vaccination initiative. They were able to, they can take these metrics to an organization like the Gates Foundation and show them what we're doing, show them how many hours we're working, how much money we're spending, things like that. It's great for our average. We don't advertise ourselves very well. It allows international to say, here's some of the great things Lions are doing worldwide. The other thing it does, so this reporting thing, you've seen in your Lions magazine where you get these stories about clubs. That's where they start from. That's where they get this foundation. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Whitefish Lions Club. We restarted them about 10, 12 years ago. And again, they got they had a bunch of people and they said, hey, what do we do? They said, let's do a community garden, a school garden. And we can get the kids involved and things like this. And all the people that were the old geezers that were starting the club kind of, they didn't say anything, but they all thought, that'll never fly. You may have seen it now. It got picked up by Lions Magazine because they reported it in, wasn't My Lion back then, but it got reported. They've been in the Lions Magazine with that twice, and then they made a video of it. So that's the other reason you may want to, that you want to use My Lion. My LCI is where you report, add, subtract members. Again, this is primarily a secretarial function to do that. And you've got all kinds of roles, and how it looks comes up differently depending on what your role is. On my club, I'm the treasurer. So things like my statements are in here. Looks like I need to pay him some money. Oh no, I did. Anyway, the president basically has the same rights in here as the treasurer or the secretary. So if you're a secretary, you could go as a president and add new members and subtract members and all that kind of thing. But that is my LCI, the quick overview. Insights is kind of a graphical way to look at the district clubs, things like that. Again, that's why reporting is important. It shows membership and growth and things like that. They now have the store in here. You can purchase stuff as an individual or as a club. Things, like club supplies, vests, clothing, all that kind of good stuff. I want to point out this learning center. So this is where there is online training available. A lot of this information I took in this PowerPoint came from some of this, but there are training. There are training paths for presidents, secretaries, treasurers. There are stuff for Leos. There's the club officer training. That's why this session is kind of based off of this. So their program for example, for president has you do the club officer training session, and then a couple of sessions on related to running your club. So this, you can do it yourself. It's similar to this without, of course, Montana and District 37 part are not necessarily going to be in there, or not in there, but this is a general one. But well, we're taking a look at.
So in this right here, can the average person get into this?
Yes.
How do they do it?
Well, they need to go on that original screen. They would go in and
Sign in and
do a
get
setup.
their own.
They would get account, and then
Okay,
just sign in with the information. So it's based on an email and a password.
okay, so it's just like the secretary would do it.
Yeah.
Like I did it. Okay,
Yeah, you're limited on all the other areas. You can't do much in any of them, just as a regular member.
but you can view the other things. How, like another thing, how do I view Kalispell in here? Or can I?
Well, you can't view. I'm not sure if you can view the membership or not.
Well, I mean, not the membership, but if you look at their activities and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So you can look at other club's activities. I'll go back there and go ahead and nope, wrong one. I can never remember how to get back from here.
Yeah, it isn't very friendly.
Now there's some. Come on. So you can do it under Insights or under My Lion.
Okay,
So right now I'm looking at, it defaults to Kalispell because that's a club I'm in.
so can you go to
Yeah.
mine? Can you go to
Detailed
Havertz?
matrix. But you can, up here, there's a club search.
Oh, there's where you, okay,
So now there we go. 126 people served, 6 service activities. So you've been busy. You've been doing the job.
Try
Funds
to.
raised, reports by month.
okay,
So you could look at, and then you could look at our district.
all
So
right.
there's our
So you
district.
go into metrics and do it, huh? Or what'd you start with? My Lion and then, okay,
I'm in My Lion.
right.
Metrics is more of you can do stuff in there, but it's a little confusing.
No, I'm just wanting to view. I'm just wondering how you viewing this.
On Insights, it's more of a graphical thing, but you can, so here's
Okay.
defaults by constitutional area. So this is the United States.
Mhm,
All kinds of stuff, donations to LCIF,
Right.
and you can drill down. But
What
it's
I was wanting to do is go look at maybe some different places and just see what ideas they might have for service projects and
so
stuff
I would,
like that.
yeah, you'll definitely do that in My Lion,
Okay,
where you can look at all the other other clubs activities. But yeah, I just went up here to that I clicked on that and then went to club search up here to look at other clubs.
okay, club search, okay.
All right, good question.
But I wondered why I was doing this, because if nobody can see it, it didn't make much sense.
Hey, Mike, I appreciate this because I've been trying to figure out how to go in and report my club's activities, and you showed me, so now I know how to do it.
Okay, well, and she will go into much more detail on the Monday secretary session on how to actually do report, how to actually do these, because there's some tricks to it. And you could actually copy things, and there are ways to really make it a lot simpler. And like I said, next Monday session, she'll go in and do that, because some of this is pretty confusing. And it's worth doing it, it's worth attending that session, because she'll spend most of her time is on this kind of stuff. Anyway, that's a brief overview of My Lion Suite. Here's some just random other thoughts about should your club have a board? Some of the smaller clubs, maybe not. The advantage of having a board is that those tedious discussions about stuff can be done at the board level rather than a club meeting. Some of those things that you get into at a club that you wonder if you're ever going to get out the door, because you're into these long discussions. They could be handled by a board of directors. When the treasurer night, I'm going to talk about budgets. Should your club have a budget? I don't care how small or big a club, I recommend having a budget. Gives you a roadmap, because budgets aren't totally restrictive. They do give you an idea. Here's what we think we're going to make in money this year. We're going to raise funds. Here's how we're going to spend it. And it's a guide to see how you're doing and things like that. That way you don't get 2/3 of the way through the year and go, oh, we don't have any more money. We better come up with a fundraiser. You can plan your fundraisers and things better, I think, in my opinion. How often? That's always a big debate. We're split half and half of whether we want to meet weekly or twice a month. This is something that lots of clubs don't do, is hold new member orientations. They're a bit of a pain. Somebody's got to develop one, although there is, again, on that Lions website, there's a bunch of examples. But a lot of clubs, I know our club doesn't, and when I did all my club visits, very few clubs actually do a new member orientation where they take their newer members, because you don't get a lot of them anyway. So then you got to arrange something for 1 or 2 people maybe. But it's nice, get them in a room. Okay, here's what we do. Here's our projects. Here's the things you can be a part of. Here's what you can do. Here's how we raise our money. Here's a overview of the Lions Club structure. What's a district? What's a district governor? All those little terms we throw out and all those abbreviations, DGs and PDGs, and really good idea to do that, in my opinion. I've been trying to get our club to do it, but again, there's another tool called How Are Your Ratings? Basically, it's a survey for your club members that you can take to your club and say, what do you think? How are we doing? We want your opinion. What do you think we're doing good service? Do you think we're, what do you think of the meetings? What do you think of this? It's a way to, and you can certainly do that without a survey, but it's a nice way for people to get your club involved in how the club being operated, what should we be doing, type of thing. And I talked about that blueprint for a stronger club before. Again, this is that more in-depth deal of questionnaire, goal setting. Not very many clubs set goals, and in the business land, most businesses that are successful set goals. Again, that it's highly, it's a standard business practice, I'll put it that way. So does your club at the beginning of the year say, okay, this year we want to get 5 new members, 1 new member, 1 member over, one net growth member? I encourage you as your club officers to really think about setting some goals for your club. And especially when it comes to things like membership. So again, there's all these fabulous tools. They've done a ton of work on those type of things at the international level.
Hey, Mike, this
Yes.
is Enid. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. You had talked about that new member orientation. I just want to put a little plug in for that. We hadn't done one for about 5 years. We finally got one done. I think it was the end of October. We finally got it done. And what I happened to be a presenter at it. I did not organize it. But what we did was we looked at everybody who had joined in the last 4 years and invited them specifically. We had pie. It was an hour-long educational event. And then we also had a few prospective members.
Great.
But it was a great event, and several of us have been Lions for lots of years, and each of us learned a little something. So if anybody is out there and is thinking about doing that new member orientation, if you'd want to contact me, I could sure put you in contact with whoever organized ours. But we just had like 6 people do like a 3 to 5 minute presentation on different topics. And it was just excellent. And we got 4 new members out of it.
Fabulous.
Thing. And I think we solidified the membership of those who joined us in the last 4 years too. And of course, not everybody came, but we had a pretty decent turnout. So
Good.
I just really encourage you to do that. We've got 1 member in our group, one who really is a believer in it. And I think it's just to make people feel more welcome.
Well, absolutely. Plus, it's easy to lose someone in the cracks.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody comes in and say, I want to be a Lions member. Oh, great. Well, come on in. Well done. Then they talk to a little bit, and then they come to the next meeting and they just end up sitting in the back. And, and unless people reach out to them, and you give them something to do, make sure you give some, that's part of the new member orientation is you can say, okay, we've got these committees or we've got this project or, we do these vision screenings. What do you want to do? What would you like to do? And I thank you very much. That's great. It's a great tool. All right. I am at the end of the PowerPoint. Does anybody have any further questions or anything?
What did I do with this?
All right.
I was
Well,
gonna
like I
ask
said,
how
I will,
Erin- how I could get a hold of Enid, that gal,
Eden.
Enid.
So
Yeah,
I will
Eden,
go ahead.
Why don't, my phone number, 406-480-9184.
That sounds like a really great idea. We've got about 4 new members of the last 3 years. One, we just brought her paperwork in today. And a couple that we're looking at. I think that's an awesome idea.
Yeah, we sure had fun with it. And like I say, I don't know a
Yeah.
lot about, I was there and I presented, but I think I could get you the template and it really worked out.
Yeah,
well.
Mike Woods is our, he sets up a lot of people and he would be good at setting this up. He would be
Good.
really good. So I
Yep.
might, is that okay if I forward your number to him, Mike Woods?
That's great.
Okay, you know Mike, I'm sure.
Which Mike?
Mike Woods, the Sunriser Lion.
I don't make sure he leaves a message because quite honestly, I probably won't pick it up since he's not.
Okay,
in.
okay, I'll have him leave a message
Yeah.
then, because that's
Absolutely.
awesome. That would be
I
good.
sent on an email on using the email address that you guys signed up.
Right, you
online
can
for this
definitely email
for.
me also. That's
And,
great.
So
Yeah,
that
okay.
includes everybody email that was signed up for tonight. So there were, 15 people, or we didn't have quite 15 to 10, but we got close. So that, I didn't hide them. So all the emails are shared, and I'll send another
Oh,
one
Okay.
with some follow-up information.
And Tom, it's nice to see you again. Serena's in college in Helena. I'll give
That's
you,
right.
yeah, I'll get with you. I'll email you.
All righty. Thank you.
Mhm.
Merry Christmas to all. Well, I guess we're meeting next week, some of us. So that's good.
Some
Yeah.
will be back Wednesday night and some Monday and some next Wednesday. So, well, I thank you guys for attending this. We meant to do it way
Thank you,
earlier in
Mike.
the year, but life happens
That's fine.
sometimes.
Life happens. Thank you, Mike,
Mike.
for your time.
Yes.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Appreciate your clubs. You guys doing a great job, and everybody have a great evening.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.